How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I ended up doing the mission called cleaning out the garage. To be honest, it wasn't one of the highest ones on my to-do list. I kind of wanted to do the one where you can like refuel and repair, but yeah, I still need the fuel off the second map, so it was just to get another one ticked off the list. That I got on the game a bit late tonight, so I didn't really want to get stuck into a mission that was too big. I've been wanting to try the Twinsteer for a little while because I've always liked it. It's always been pretty underrated, and I figured I had a mission where I've got an excuse to load 4 cargo and all the rest of it. Now, a while ago, you were able to do like a little bit of a glitch. So I've got I've got multiple Twinsteers, but one of them has got the suspension is like the normal suspension, that one, but it's still got the 63-inch chain tyres. So I can still, it feels better with the biggest tyres, like in high range and all the rest of it, but it sits a bit lower, so it might help with tipping a little bit. So I was just mentioning that because you can't do it anymore, unfortunately. If you want the lowered suspension, you've got to have the smaller tyres. But yeah, I managed to get in while the glitch was happening, and I've still got it. I've got a lowered loaf, a lowered Twinsteer, and a couple of other things. Yeah, so one of the places I had to go was this warehouse up here, which I've not been to yet, so I just kind of, it's a pretty good excuse to go up there. Yeah, I'm gonna go around the long way. I was gonna just cut up the short way, but while I've got no cargo, I'll just loop the long way. I could go the short way both ways, but just for the sakes of like messing around, trying the vehicles and a new map and all the rest of it. And then yeah, I also need to go down to like that port factory as well and get an oversized cargo, which is like a 4-slot cargo container thing. So again, the Twinsteer will come in handy. What I didn't realise at this point was the warehouse I'm going to has only got 2 concrete blocks, and I need 4 in total. And it was it's my fault. I wasn't paying attention enough, and I just was like, oh, concrete blocks there. Drop the hammer, get going, and yeah, it kind of, everything was going pretty well. To be honest, there was like, I was getting a few little frame rate things, but nothing too crazy. I just had a feeling tonight it was like the game was trolling me. Every little thing that could have gone wrong went wrong, and then when I turned the game off to come and edit it in Share Factory, it took ages to close, and then blue screened me, and then I had to, it said corrupted data and all the rest of it. I just had a feeling something was off tonight, and yeah, by the end of the game, like I said, it blue screened me, so yeah, gut feeling appeared to be correct. But anyway, the yeah, the Twinsteer, like I said, the reason I wanted to come and use it again is I've always found it to be a bit of an underrated truck. What I always like about it is it's got the biggest tyres for a truck that's allowed the high range gearbox, and I tend to find the bigger the wheel, like when you put it in the high range gear, say it's making the wheel do 1 revolution a second. If you've got a 63-inch tyre, that's obviously covering more distance in 1 revolution than a 50-inch tyre, and I've always found with the Twinsteer, when you put it in high range, it punches its way through a lot of terrain that you kind of, yeah, it gets away with quite a lot, and it's just got like a good meaty engine and all the rest of it. And that was back before it was all-wheel drive. Now it's all-wheel drive as well, so I'm sure back in the day it used to be, I think it was just rear-wheel drive, so you'd kind of punch through things, but then when your front end would climb out the other side of the water or whatever, that's obviously got no power going to it. And yeah, now it's all-wheel drive. It's a pretty solid truck, and even going along here, I do like this section, this whole area that I've just drove through. They haven't, they've been pretty sort of nice with how they've balanced it, and it's not too brutal. It's again, the Twinsteer gets away with it very well, and punches its way through there pretty quick. I was just looking there, you can see like the path on my actual screen where I could have followed that around and just gone up to kind of where I'm heading anyway, but I decided to go this way, wanting to see what the hill was like. And oh, I can't really test it now kind of before, but I think this gives a pretty good example of where the power's not really there like it used to be. This is yeah, fully upgraded Twinsteer. I'm in first gear out of 8th. And there's no cargo, I've got a loaf on there, but again, I've got tow loafs bloody everywhere, so that doesn't normally make a difference. But yeah, this thing, it was climbing through the gears in the end, but just incredibly slow to actually put the power down, or certainly where the power translates to like acceleration. It's certainly yeah, the amount of acceleration seems to be pretty limited. Not just on this vehicle, well, this is like one of the reasons I wanted to try this, because the high gear was already like so punchy. Even though I do feel like there's been a bit of a background nerf going on, this again is one of the trucks that feels, I can tell a little bit. What it feels a bit like is there's a lot of people mention this, and it's true, is like with the Twinsteer, it might be worth going for the smaller tyres and keeping the lowered suspension on. Unless you drive quite slowly anyway, then it probably won't be as much of an issue. But if you're going to kind of squeeze the throttle and drop the hammer a little bit, this can be a little bit dangerous when it's got raised suspension and all the rest of it. But the reason I don't like going to smaller tyres is, as I said, then say if you go back to that 1 revolution per second, it's just covering less distance, and it didn't feel as punchy in the high gear. It feels like it's had a little step down, but considering every truck feels like that, yeah, it still feels like an adequate amount of power going through this thing. And it was pretty good to drive, even up to now. Everything, the night was going well. And then I got to here, and it was only once I was actually getting the cargo, it suddenly dawned on me that, yeah, there's only 2 concrete blocks here, and like I said, I could do with 4. Brought a loaf with me as well. I did a rescue earlier, but the footage glitched, so I've had again. It was just being awkward tonight. Everything that could possibly be awkward, managed to. And yeah, not that I need much of an excuse to bring a loaf. I have noticed recently though, every time I keep unpacking a loaf, see how its engine's got like half damage. I'm not sure if it's a bug, but I don't get when I keep apparently damaging my loaf engine. I put it on the Twinsteer. There's no way I smashed it up just putting it on the Twinsteer, and I've noticed this like the last couple of days, so I'll have to keep an eye on it. But it's as if like it's, I don't know, just automatically taking engine damage from, I don't know, being packed, unpacked, I'm not sure. Yeah, it was about now where it suddenly hit me. I was like, oh, got 2. Edited plenty out there, but I was looking around. In the scheme of things, it doesn't really make much difference, because I was already going to drive down to that port factory anyway for the oversized cargo, and there's another warehouse that is literally on the way that's got another 2 concrete blocks, so it shouldn't really yeah, be much of an issue. I was going to bring the loaf back, and then I was like, actually I'll leave the loaf there, because it's just again one of those things, at some point in the future I'll be over this way, and I can pretty much already guarantee that loaf will come in handy at some point, whether it's the roof rack, the repairs, the fuel, as a mobile winch point, or as like a little rescue vehicle. Something good will come of it. And going through here, I mean, another nice thing with the Twinsteer I've noticed tonight, not everywhere, but how you seem to have certain patches of terrain that just are automatically coded not only for like a ceiling speed limit, but the certain patches of terrain that you just, your high range gear automatically just makes your wheels spin, like it's coded and programmed for that not to be the best gear to have. Like it's, yeah, it just makes you wheel spin and you kind of dig in more than you go forward. There's various trucks though that don't seem to get as punished with that, and this still feels like one of them. You definitely can get the odd area eventually, but for how well it like punches through the terrain, because it's got quite a lot of weight to the vehicle as well, and the big chain tyres and all the rest of it, personally I would recommend the chained. I just think they bite in better. Even on this map I've been using chain the last couple of days, and yeah, I've been getting along pretty well with them. I've not really noticed any issues. I've been driving around with mud tyres and custom muds, and yeah, they're not exactly blowing me socks off or anything, whereas the chained I just feel like, the mud wise and all the rest of it, they bite in pretty well. And especially on this vehicle anyway, I can't change the tyres. If I go and change the tyres, I believe it'll then not let me add the same size tyres on, because they've patched that glitch now with the suspension thing. So I've kind of got to leave this setup as it is, but I'm happy with that because it's set up like it's all fully upgraded. I can still go and adjust the engine and all the rest of it. I just don't really want to go and play around with the tyres or the suspension, otherwise I might kind of, yeah, make it activate the glitch, and it'll force me to have smaller tyres or raise suspension. So yeah, so far that wasn't too much of a bad section of the mission. So this is where you're going to drop these off at this garage, which is like your main garage in the end. I'll say now as well, I was pretty disappointed with it, but I got a little bit of the animation where it starts rebuilding that garage, but it glitched some of it, which I think is the first time I've actually lost a bit of animation footage. So anyway, set up to go and get the oversized cargo, and you can see there I've got the MK38 military one behind me, just because, like I said, I need to get 2 concrete blocks, so I'm going to go the normal way I was anyway, cut through kind of the short way past that bridge. It's there where I can get 2 concrete blocks, so I can just disconnect the MK38 there, and then, yeah, go down to here as normal, grab an oversized cargo, and then double back on myself. And it was more around now-ish, when, not quite now, but coming up, it just started to seem to be more and more trollish. So I can already tell now, for a start, the you can see like the ceiling speed limit has been capped pretty severely with, like, when you're towing a vehicle doing like a road train, yeah, it has a pretty severe top speed cap. It's not too bad. Going through the yard there, I could have easily dropped the hammer and, well, yeah, done with the extra speed, but stuff like now, it doesn't really make any difference. Another little glitch there going on. Can't even say it properly. So again, you can just sort of see there's like a lack of immediate introduction of power, but low range diffs on. That's another nice thing with this vehicle. It's yeah, it's pretty solid these days, even in like the way they seem to do the terrain on these later phases. Especially for the fact that it used to, yeah, not have all-wheel drive. I think it did used to have diffs. I believe so. See, there with low range, you can hear there's like a lack of revs. I don't really, well, I do know why they cap it in low range, but technically speaking, you shouldn't lose rev range in your engine just for going into the low gears, but it is what it is. Yeah, it's more in your auto where it's behaving closer to like what the low range does anyway. Funnily enough, driving this thing, the military ANK, I'm sure in the description with the civilian one it says that the civilian one has more torque than its military counterpart. I actually think this has more torque. It certainly still feels closer to the old school, like, punchy power introduction that used to be normal, but now seems to be a bit of a treat. That you can find a certain spectrum of it in a few vehicles. It does still feel like I said, it's been hit across the board, but yeah, the Dolphin yesterday, driving that around the off-road Dolphin, that was felt pretty close to how it used to feel. So I still think that shortcut's worth doing. Again, somebody used a mod, the bridge layer mod apparently, and put it over that bridge, so I believe it'll fit. That's what she said. And yeah, there's not like going to be an invisible barrier or anything in the way. That's what I had, what's the map called? Chimcheruski, or whatever it was. The 4th map on phase 4? Yeah. That had that bridge on it that I really tried to, I think I even tried a couple of bridge layer mods in the end. It just had like an invisible wall kind of all over the bridge. It was making it a complete awkward mess. It's handy having this fuel station here. It's definitely a shame though it didn't have like another little red box next to that tank for sort of manual loading fuel barrels, because that would have made the, yeah, getting that repair and refuel thing of the garage done a lot easier. I think I've only got 2 more missions now. There's to do, well, as far as the garage goes, there's the unlocking the, yeah, refuel and repair, and then there's the truck store thing, and that's it. And the truck store I'm not that desperate for either. There's a bit of I muddled it around a bit with the editing there, so it looks a little bit out of whack. But yeah, essentially drop the ANK38 off there, grab the 2 concrete blocks, and now I'm just off as normal. I'm not sure as well. I'll have to test it out. The best place to go would be Northport, little factory where I do the cargo tests on the review, but the turning circle on this felt like it was not too bad then. When I turned it in, eventually it kind of bit in pretty well. Then again, I suppose it used to. I think it's just the length of this vehicle that makes it a pretty awkward turning circle wise. But yeah, it did better than I thought there. It kind of got its nose end round, because if I went further over to the right I'd start to tip quite a bit. Sadly, I sort of beached in the middle now. That's one of the reasons this vehicle is quite handy, that it's very punchy and just puts the power down and smashes its way through lots of terrain. Is yeah, when you get sections like that where you beach, if you've got a bit of speed going, you can obviously just... It carries its momentum very well, and its sort of inertia keeps it going. And I don't think it's like night and day difference that are there. The suspension I've still got, like, say, lowered. I imagine if I had the smaller tyres on now as well, it may affect a mile an hour or two or whatever with driving along now, but in theory it'd then be even less tippy, so yeah, it's not the safest form it could be built in, but it certainly works for me because I do like the biggest tyres. So even there, like, I think it eventually bogs in, but it probably got a good truck length through there before it started bogging down, whereas most other vehicles just instantly, high range and that sort of terrain just really don't go well together. Apologies, a little glitch there, but yeah, I'm mashing the bloody L1 button. Waiting to drop it back in high range so I can get moving a bit. I believe that was some phantom damage. You always get some. I could hear beeping going on. I don't know what the hell it was there. It was probably just some little animation thing in the background, some noise going, but I don't know why. It confused me for a sec. I thought, hang on a minute, am I reversing? What the hell's going on? One day I'll manage a mission without damaging everything. I keep forgetting as well. Again, I'm very lax with damage on this game, but until I get the fix and refuel thing done in my garage, it keeps costing me roof racks and all the rest of it. So yeah, drop my loaf off. It was another excuse to leave another loaf down at this port section. Grab an oversized cargo, and then pretty much doubling back on myself, and then I'll have to collect the ANK-38 on the way back. And again, pretty soon by now as well, I'm going to end up having to do that Yellow Brick Road map exploration. I was hoping to get the garage kind of out the way first, but it seems that it's going to force us to go on that map to get it done anyway, so that's yeah, fairly high on the list to get done. You can see flying along here now, I'm sure this is the one, yeah. This was just where, if it was going wrong, it would go wrong. Turned in a little bit excessively there. Yeah, it started to roll, so again, it just shows you it's not like completely unrollable just because I've managed to get it with the lower suspension. Came back again, and to be fair, I was kind of still flooring it there. I was probably paying a bit more attention to where I'm turning. But overall, it was fine the second time. That's the thing with the Twinsteer. It's sort of... Once it's going, it's going. There's not really... You don't really have time to do anything about it, like steer back out of it. It's got some nice weight to it, but it seems to sit along sort of the backboard of the truck. So instead of sitting down between the axles, it kind of sits slightly above them. So yeah, once you start going, there's a certain amount, and then you just like a pendulum where the weight just takes it. There's not a lot you can do about it. Wow, I've had a goddamn professional with me. I could have flipped myself. To be honest, I could have gone and got him from the yard. The reason I didn't is because I'd still have to bring a crane vehicle down anyway to load this cargo back on. So I'm not going to lie, there was a good little bit of quit and reload. And yeah, it sort of loads 30 seconds back before I crash and all the rest of it. See, at least with tyres this big, the 63-inch tyres, they're... Again, this map's kind of, or not just this map, this whole game, various rocks and that you get on the road and in the way, they're all made to a size that would kind of be awkward for, say, roughly 50-inch tyres. That's where, like, some of the better trucks have got 50, 51-inch tyres, that sort of thing. Some of the slightly lesser trucks have got 46, 47-inch. and yeah, the whole map's kind of been designed to be a challenge for 50-inch tyres, so when you get trucks with bigger tyres, it poses less of an issue. Like those rocks I just went over when I was coming out of the water there, they hold up sort of, 50-inch tyres a lot more. This thing just kind of climbed over it. It's done pretty well, and you can see it's not like OP mode or anything like that. It's not exactly dropping the hammer. Like I say, the torque nerf going on still noticeable with the Twinsteer, just not to a degree where it's sort of leaves you waiting for something to happen. And yeah, I need to test it a little more, but driving that ANK38, the military version, I might give that one a go on like a proper mission, because yeah, I just kind of found that I think for whatever reason the torque seems to be there a little better. I really wish they would up the top speed though, where when you're doing a road train, not loads, just a few more miles an hour would be nice. And then you'll see as we start, not this corner, but then when I start going around the right hand corner, again, half the thing was, because I got on late to the game, I fell asleep on the sofa a bit, felt a bit tired, I wasn't really paying a lot of attention, and it was one of them where I was just like, cruising to the ending, and yet we're done, and now look at it. The ANK just clipped the barrier, instantly flipped, and that's what I still have to say though. Apparently they have fixed the tipping issue with this ANK, but I don't know whether it's just because it's got the sideboard on and that has weight to it, but I do feel it tips easier than the Civilian, but I also do feel this has more torque than the Civilian, which, yeah, according to the description in the garage is the opposite, but I don't agree with that. Not at the minute, anyway. And I don't normally find that the sideboard weighs anything on most vehicles, but as it's kind of like a unique, you're forced to have it on this vehicle, I'm not sure if it's got its own sort of, unique weight characteristics where it's made the weight of the overall vehicle kind of sit a bit higher. I mean, how easy it tipped there as well. I can't say for guaranteed that it wouldn't have tipped if it did that in the Civilian, but it definitely went pretty easily. I only clipped the barrier. It's not like I was going 50 miles an hour and ramped sideways off like a twisty ramp. Got caught on a tree a bit there, I was like, sod it, I'll just send them one at a time. And overall, I've got to be honest, I quite like this shortcut, it's pretty handy. It'd be pretty cool if there was a way to rebuild that bridge, because I'm not going to lie, if it was there I'd probably use it eventually, but it's a good little example of like going up and down this section, which trucks handle it better and which don't. Kind of gives you a good idea of what trucks are going to generally handle this map better. Yeah, story of my life. Hit the edges and bounce back. I'm just going to send the ANK to drop the cargo off first, so I get the animation when I drop the oversized cargo off, but like I said, in the end, the game, or whatever, the computer decided to screw me over with the some of the glitches going on tonight. I mean, this is definitely, even there where I was leaning over to the left a little bit, back in the day this thing was gagging to tip. Yeah, still to this day I've got 30, 40 cargo containers scattered all over Drowned Lands where I was trying to do that cargo container delivery contest thing. I was not happy about it. This is risky, by the way. Even when I was doing it, I was like, it can snag the winch line and sort of flick your truck over. And again, that's another example, to be honest. That would have tipped the ANK back in the day. Ask me how I know, because I've done it about 100 times. I can't help flying past vehicles and sticking the winch on. Now as well. Bloody Twinsteer shoves me out of the little yellow marker. So yeah, 2 more of the concrete blocks. And then now I get the animation again. Apologies for that. It didn't really miss a lot. You've seen the start of it there. Annoyingly, it was actually one of the few little video things that had an animation instead of just clicking from not built to built. But that was it. You just seen a load of tiles stick to the roof, and yeah, it just said mission complete. So now the inside of my garage is all cleared out, and that's it. I have to say, those ramps, I'd barely trust them to lift a loaf. Never mind a bloody truck. Not a chance would I be getting near them. But yeah, that's that another one done. Like I said, I've still got, you can see in the top left corner of the box, it was I've got the truck stall mission, and then yeah, the refuel and repair, which is the one I really want to do. So there's just a last look at the suspension, where you can see one sits a lot higher than the other. But yeah, that's about it for today though. I hope you've enjoyed, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, thanks to my Patreon members. Get yourself a loaf because he's a beast as usual. And again, try this as well, it's feeling pretty good on these maps. And yeah, I'll be back soon.